Hello and welcome to the All Things Geek podcast. I'm your host Leighton and I am joined with, or by, I should say,
Aiden.
Hello, good sir. So today we're going to be reviewing Multiverse of Madness, since we are some of the lucky ones that saw it on opening day, or opening night for you. And we were going to record a lot sooner, but schedules and stuff, so we decided to, just do it on this Monday. So, I'm glad we did, because there's been a lot of news.
Yes, there has. It allows us to process the movie.
Yeah. So firstly, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I just want to say that we're jumping straight into the news. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 has officially wrapped filming. So I think that's coming out... I don't think it's coming out next year, is it?
No, actually, yeah, it should be coming out next May.
Oh, right, okay, fair enough. So, yeah.
This Christmas we're getting the holiday special. Which
and that's been filmed back to back, hasn't it, with Volume 3. So,
which is exciting. It's exciting.
Yeah. I'm curious to know how that's going to turn out and whatnot. But, so they'll be going into post-production right now, since it's stopped filming and stuff, obviously editing and all that shit. So, yeah, should be nicely finished by the time it's due out. Hopefully no delays or anything like that. If there's reshoots, that's completely fine.
Yeah, that usually... There's going to be some other shots they'll probably have to do in the middle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's something
interesting I heard about... there's a photo of, kind of the cast hanging out after, kind of their own kind of rap party, but just them hanging out. Apparently there's a unnamed actor that... Because Zoe Zandala was in a separate photo with an unnamed actor, because they mostly had almost a group shot of most people that were hanging out together.
Yeah.
Apparently she was in one with an actor they couldn't talk about, who's playing a character, special character in the movie. So I thought that was interesting.
Adam.
To be honest with you, I couldn't tell you who the heck it could be.
It could be Adam.
But, yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be Adam, because he's already announced as who's going to play it, the Will Poulter kid.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
So, knowing James Gunn, he's probably going to pull something really crazy and probably make it really cool out of the bag. So, this movie's going to be huge, I think. I mean, you're going to have so many of these other characters return. It's going to be... And, we talked about before in the podcast that the movie broke a record for, what was it, prosthetics or alien makeup or makeup so far in a film, which is crazy. So I'm so excited to see this movie. Also kind of sad that they're going to wrap up the Guardians trilogy, or at least with these characters we've come to know.
Not all the Guardians are making it out, so...
Yeah, for almost the past 9 years,
That's
which is crazy to think about. So...
Who would you want to make it through? If you have to pick, because obviously you can't pick the full cast.
So I'm going to say
pick 3 characters.
3 characters, all right. Well, I'll tell you who's the most likely to survive in my mind. But Nebula is a character I would really love to see more of. I think she's really grown a lot on me through Guardians 2, both Avengers films that she appeared in. And I hope that she'll appear outside. She feels like a likely candidate to survive after this film. I don't know about Star-Lord or Groot. I think Groot's possible surviving, because he's just going to die and grow back again, right? So
exactly.
Unless they really take away that idea. And Groot's probably going to be more like in his alpha Groot mode, which I think was something teased by Vin Diesel. I don't know. If we're talking the main Guardians group, I could see being less than 3, honestly.
Really? Right. So I really hope Rocket makes it out, because Rocket is my favorite.
I think Rocket's gonna. I think he's gonna bite dust. He's gonna be the one to bite dust.
Devastated if he dies.
He's the highest candidate, which I hate. I don't want to say that, but I just feel like, oh god, dude, we're such in that direction. I think this movie will explore Rocket's origins. It's supposed to, I believe. I'm just curious what the movie's going to be about, because these past 2 movies, first movie is a lot about Peter meeting the Guardians, and also was kind of him coming to terms with his mother's passing, his mother. Obviously, sequel's very central and focusing on his father. So what do you do in this third one?
That's fair.
So I'm kind of straying off a part of what we're talking about, but
no, that's fine.
Just been this has been on my mind. I'm just excited to see it, but we're going to see a lot of these guys go. I'm curious about Gamora, because
same.
That's going to be,
still have to obviously wrap that up from like Endgame and stuff. So
yeah, but is she going to continue to stick around after this? It's like it's very interesting.
And I'm sure the original Guardians, like the original comic Guardians, are meant to return in this, like they did in Guardians 2. So, like, Sylvester Stallone's coming back.
Yes, they teased a photo of him like on set in full costume. I remember seeing that in my feed. I'm like, oh shoot, he's back. So, we're probably gonna get more Guardians characters we didn't get to see. I'm so curious, but it's so good to see them when they go back to like Marvel Cosmic and the Marvel space, so to speak. Yeah. So it makes me also wonder what they're referenced in Thor: Love and Thunder as well, because they're going to travel the cosmos. Guardians to be there for a few moments. So
I'm curious to know how the film's going to play out. So moving on from one thing to another, some pretty massive news in the culture world, or geek world, I should say, dropped yesterday. We have a new actor taking on the role of the Doctor. We all know that I'm a massive Doctor Who fan, so this is always a very nervous and exciting time within the fandom, especially for myself, because if you don't like an actor, tough shit, you're stuck with them for a few years, and whatnot. Or if you grow to love a certain actor in the role and they leave, you're going to be devastated. So, Sex Education's Ncuti Gatwa is announced as the 14th Doctor, the first non-white actor to take on the role. He's going to be taking over from Jodie Whittaker, who is the first female Doctor. And he is set to appear in 2023 when the new era takes off. He's a great actor. He's already won a lot of BAFTA awards and stuff like that, especially for his role as Eric in Sex Education, and whatnot. So, this casting is very exciting, especially for me, because like I never thought we'd get, not that we wouldn't get an actor of colour or anything like that. He just wasn't on my radar for people to pick as a role, as a lot of speculation does within the fandom and stuff and whatnot. So it was such a surprise, but honestly, I can safely say this is one of the announcements for an actor taking on the role where I'm very, very excited for. I've already seen him in action, like I say, in Sex Education. I haven't really seen him in anything else, but he's amazing in that, and I can't wait for this new era to take on and whatnot, and see how it all plays out. Obviously, you haven't really watched much Doctor Who. You've seen a few episodes.
I've seen a few episodes. Yeah. I'm fascinated by its like vast history it's had. Where it was such a like mainstay thing in like early like 60s, 70s, however long it was, and it stopped for so many years and then came back again in 2005. Yeah. I just like the sci-fi elements of it, which it mostly is, but it is just, for me, it's so overwhelming of, if I want to get into it, where do I start?
Yeah, so this is the thing with a lot of fans or a lot of people who want to jump in, and the safest thing to do is either jump in when a new Doctor comes in, or so I mean, I'm the type of person who would recommend, if you just want to watch the revival, so from 2005 onwards, to start with Christopher Eccleston, but because there's so many episodes now, as much as the classic era, I would recommend that either you wait or till the new era starts, because with every new Doctor, more or less, everything gets re-explained for casuals. Do you know what I mean?
That's nice.
So it's kind of like, if you want to jump on, now's the chance. If you don't, then do you know what I mean? Yeah. There's a lot. Obviously, if you were to jump in, there's a lot to take in. and whatnot. And I mean, like I say, like there's almost the same amount of new Who, which is what it's called, to classic Doctor Who, which ran from the 60s to the 80s, and like you said, it got cancelled, went off the air for 25 years, I think, or close to that. I don't think it was that long.
But quite a while.
Yeah, it was quite a while, which was the wilderness years where fans wrote books and stuff to fill in the gaps and carry on the adventures. And then obviously it came back in 2005 by the same person who was going to be writing it moving forward, Russell T Davies. An incredible writer, and I'm really looking forward to him being back. He is the person that brought the show back in 2005. He did leave in 2009 and said that he wouldn't go back, and here he is, moving the show forward from 2023 onwards with his media studio, Bad Wolf Productions, which started more or less because of the show, which has been purchased by Sony. So I'm curious to know how it's going to visually look, especially. Bad Wolf Studios made His Dark Materials, is it?
That's a newer show. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
All right, interesting. Well, I don't know if I'll hop on, but we shall see. But,
I'm curious to know how it's gonna all go. So I'm very much looking forward to it. Moving on from Doctor Who back to Marvel, Multiverse of Madness has made over 450 million within its opening weekend.
Wow,
that is mental. I mean, we shouldn't be that surprised. It is Marvel, but
it's also
like the Batman, for example, which we all know I love, made close to 800 million. I think it stopped at like 769. The fact that Multiverse of Madness has made 450 million within its opening weekend is mental. I mean, I'm not surprised, I am also as well, which is very weird, I guess.
Look, I was gonna say, outside of it being a Marvel movie, it's a Doctor Strange movie pertaining to the multiverse with Sam Raimi's name written all over.
I think that's like one of the biggest draws. Sam Raimi coming back. Yeah. It's his first comic book movie since Spider-Man 3. So
which is 15, 14 years ago, which is crazy to think about. That movie just turned 15, 14 like a couple days ago. So
so it's
wild.
It's mad. And obviously there's
and 10 years since he did a movie as well, I believe.
And I mean, there's a lot of buzz anyway with it being, like you say, Doctor Strange and obviously Wanda, which is a massive fan favourite. You obviously got the Wanda stans who, think you can't do any wrong, so they're going in droves and stuff. And
but there is some controversy with how they handled her in this movie. We'll talk about that.
Oh yeah. So moving on. Production for the Ahsoka solo series has just started filming today. Very exciting. I'm sure this is a show that we're both looking forward to seeing
immensely.
So if they just started today, I don't think we'll get it until late 2023 or maybe the start of 2024.
Yeah, it's interesting because they just not too long ago wrapped up filming Mando season 3, so this will be the next between that.
So
that's just having me think about with pertaining to these Disney Plus shows and kind of the Mando verse of this string of shows. Book of Boba Fett, is it just going to be a one-off series now? That it's just going to be?
We haven't heard anything on that, have we? We haven't heard if it's getting a sequel or.
No, there's not been a renewal or any kind of for season 2.
Yeah.
So we might just have to appear alongside Din and Grogu in the Mandalorian. So
I don't know if it's down to it just wasn't received well enough, or that was just the story they had. Do you know what I mean? So we'll have to see. It could be a combination of both. I know the Book of Boba Fett wasn't the most loved show,
Yeah.
and whatnot. So it could, but I can't see it being that. I just think it was just meant to be a one-off. So if that's the case, then it's a shame. But you know,
I mean, a lot of people really do not like that show, but it has moments of like when it has its highs,
it has great
its
moments, but I think a lot of it is very hit or miss.
Yeah.
I think you enjoyed it a lot more than I did.
Yes, I have issues with it, but I didn't bash it to death like some other people where it's too much. But I think it does have an issue of identity of what it has, what it wants to be throughout. But how they focus on Boba at times, when they do focus on Boba, I think it's well done.
Yeah, there definitely is great stuff in there. It's just, I think for a lot of fans, it's not what they wanted. So yeah. I get where that is. I mean, I didn't dislike it entirely. Like I say, there was great moments and stuff, but like some episodes just were so off, and whatnot. But so Warner Brothers is considering replacing Ezra Miller with Dylan O'Brien as the Flash. This has been reported, obviously it hasn't been confirmed or anything like that. Dylan O'Brien is famously known for the Maze Runner movies. He also voiced Bumblebee in the Bumblebee solo movie. He'd be a pretty good choice as the Flash.
Yeah, a recent movie, he was in Teen Wolf, I think, wherever the hell. But I love that he was in a movie called Love and Monsters. I love that movie.
I really like him as an actor. I really like him.
I think he can play the Flash.
Yeah, definitely.
It's kind of funny because they just get another dark-haired guy just to play the Flash, but Flash is more jokey. I could see Dylan being like that. I don't know. I'll be fine with it, but it's not like
I'm curious if they do go through with it, but like. Not to stray too far off. If they're going to replace Ezra Miller, they definitely should be replacing Amber Heard as well. So, obviously, we won't go.
They're gonna keep her for you. They're gonna keep her for just your distaste.
I honestly think Aquaman 2 will get boycotted for her being in it. I really do. Which is fair play. I mean, she's an arsehole. Yeah. Obviously, we don't know the whole story. It's still getting, obviously, like I said, shouldn't really be going into it. But
I'm not. I'm telling you, I'm not excited whatsoever for Aquaman 2.
Yeah,
I do not.
I enjoyed the first one, but I just didn't care.
I haven't even cared to watch the first one. Honestly, I know bits and parts of what happens, but I just not have. I've not.
I will say the most exciting thing for me is seeing the new costume for Black Manta. He looks ridiculously good.
Yes. Yeah, that does
so spot on. But yeah, so our last bit of news is that the first trailer for Avatar: The Way of the Water, or Way of the Water, whatever, has dropped. We saw this, assuming that you did, when we saw Multiverse of Madness.
Yes, I did.
Let me know what you think.
It was funny because I was like, "Oh yeah, we're supposed to see the Avatar 2 trailer." As soon as I said that, it popped up. I was like, "Oh, there it is." Look, I'm not a huge fan of the first movie. Visually, back then when it came out, I seen that movie. I think I've seen it so many times because when it was out and it was huge and massive, the big movie of like that time at that time. Everyone was watching it. Like, everywhere I went, there was like, I must have seen that movie maybe 40, 30 times, I have to say. I really like the visuals in this movie. I've always liked the world and the scenery and how it's filmed.
Yeah, like Pandora.
Not so much of the substance of what the story is about. I can't really care for that as much. I don't plan on, I don't know if I'm going to go see this. I really don't. Yeah. It might just be one of those things. If I really, I mean, look, I'm a big movie goer in terms of like,
if curiosity gets the better of you.
Yes, it does. And I want to have this certain experience like going to the movie theater. So I'm not sure if I'm going to go see it. I don't love the first one, but the movie does this looks beautiful in many shots. You know, doing any kind of special effects with water is extremely difficult, and knowing that this movie is going to be a lot of underwater is
especially hair as well. Hair is very hard to get to.
Yes, and I don't know. For me personally, when I watched the trailer, I was like, I didn't have that moment of like butterflies in my stomach or goosebumps, like hair raising off my arm.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, okay, you know. I saw it on the biggest screen possible I could see, so it didn't really hit me like that. But it gives you a taste of what it's going to be like. So we'll have to see. But right now, I'm not feeling a whole lot.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I mean, like the first one is a straight up tech demo, and I imagine this one might be the same. But I will say, from like a filming standpoint, and whatnot. I mean, like obviously I did like 2 years in media studies, so I know about like post production, all that shit.
Right.
And mocap. I've got to say, from a technical standpoint, this looks to be like the next generation of VFX. They built a lot of new technology for this, so like motion capture underwater. That's like, you know, something that's completely new. I'm looking forward to all that. But like visually and stuff, like, I mean, they don't really give much away with the story, because I kind of feel like it's like, look how beautiful this is. Do you know what I mean? Rather than don't pay that much to the story, and what. So, visually, it looks genuinely amazing. Like, I watched it, and like the first few frames and stuff, and seeing the animation and motion and stuff, I was just like, what the fuck? Like, I'm not excited for the film.
It's just
but the visuals are 1000% there, and I've got to take my hat and give them credit, because it does look amazing. Will it make as much money as the first one? I doubt it, but
I don't know, actually. I think it's possible.
I don't know.
I don't know, but I'm going to say it's possible. I'm just going to throw it out there.
I shouldn't really completely rule it out. I mean, if a film like Captain Marvel can make 1 billion, then you know. So, yeah, from a technical standpoint and stuff, I love the way it looks. Everything looks crisp and amazing and stuff, but yeah, they didn't really give that much away with the story. I guess it's because it's the first trailer, and they're trying to make it.
I mean, there's not a lot of
anything.
There's not a lot of talking in it. It's mostly just
a lot of shots and music, which is fine. But I will say the world, like you say, just looks amazing.
Yeah,
like,
you're being reintroduced
crazy.
to Dora again. So
yeah, and like you say, anything to do with water. I love underwater shots. I'm obsessed with the sea. So when you get these gorgeous like shots under the water with these like whale creatures and stuff, like I love all that. I was just like, yeah, that's gorgeous. But enough, you know, tugging on the little chicken of Avatar. We're going to talk about Multiverse of Madness. We will be talking about spoilers. So if you haven't seen the film, go and see it. Come back, I guess, and give it a listen, because we will be spoiling it. There's not going to be... This first part of the review is going to be non-spoilers and then go into spoilers. We're just going to go into it alright. So, and then we are going to rank the MCU respectively. Not respectively. Yeah, you're going to rank it, I'm going to rank it, and then, you know. So, what did you think of Multiverse of Madness?
I loved it. It is by far one of my new favorite MCU movies, easily. I loved the first Doctor Strange movie, and this just takes everything great about that movie and expands upon it so much more, going into the multiverse and exploring more of Steven's character as he's been in the past 4 movies outside like ever since his first movie, which was a gap of 5 or 6 yeyears betwing which for a sequel
very
character.
underrated movie as well.
Yeah. And too long between, but man, this was worth the wait.
Yeah.
It is a crazy traversing multiverse trip from beginning to end. Like you are plunged into the action and everything happening right away as soon as the movie starts. Yeah. It doesn't end, and it barely, you know, once it gets to the end, it's like you have a moment to breathe, and then something else happens. I love this movie for how it's directed by Sam Raimi, because his style is just it's littered all over with it. And it works so well for what the kind of movie this is and the story that it tells. It's visually amazing. It's very bold in how they handle the multiverse and other characters. I was just so impressed by this movie, and it definitely delivered on expectations that I had towards it. I mean, I don't want to say it's a spoiler, but it's not really a spoiler, I guess. It's not very cameo heavy, which I was glad about, because a lot of people were looking for that and were disappointed by that.
Yeah, they set the expectations far too high.
I wanted to say that cameos should not be the appeal of a movie. It should be the stories and characters. And something I was worried about was the cameos being
the stuffing of the cameos.
Yes, and that would like push aside like Doctor Strange's art. But this movie is about, of course, Doctor Strange, but a lot of it I feel like, and it does explore a lot of cool things about it, but also it's very much so about Wanda as well. Who, I want to say something, but like, I gotta wait for a second. Like, obviously, still talk about non-spoilers, but that's
you can just go straight in. I've already given like a non. We're not doing that.
I'll just say this: that
non-spoiler.
Wanda is now one of the best MCU villains in my mind. She is relentless, and it is amazing. Dare I say she's probably the most developed Marvel villain they've had, because of obviously her other appearances. But you understand where she's coming from, what she's after, why she's after it, and it's so sad to see how it unfolds for her, because it's really kind of tragic by the end of it, and what she learns. And a lot of people were kind of happy about that, not so much. They were not so happy about the lack of like Paul Bettany's vision not being a part of this, who's such a big part of Wanda's character, that now all she cared about is the kids. Was like, I don't think it was a clear focus, but Wanda was just amazing. Elizabeth Olsen did a great job performing it, as she did every time she's played the character, especially like in WandaVision, but this more so, which I feel like her performance is top from how she did in that show. And seeing two of the greatest magic users in possibly Marvel Comics, or where we have it in the movies, Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch, you really get to see how their powers go against each other and who's more powerful than the other. And it's such a fun way to see things play out. And it's Scarlet Witch is kind of a terrifying villain, because Doctor Strange is even like, I don't even know what to do.
Which is very odd for the character to be like that. He's always seemed like he's kind of on
he
top
always
of things.
Has some kind of idea or plan, but this, like, when he tries to throw everything he has at Wanda, it still doesn't do a thing. And Doctor Strange as a character in this movie, he has a kind of, it's hard to define his arc in this movie, but I will say that him traveling through the multiverse and seeing other versions of himself kind of opened clarity of who he is and get a better person through some actions that his other versions have made. And I like that, like especially with his relationship with America Chavez, who I haven't mentioned yet, but a great character that I really like.
Yeah, I really enjoyed American Chavez. I feel like, sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
It's kind of like the most comic book-esque Marvel thing they've done. Like, with how wacky and wild it gets. I know that's very true to, like, Doctor Strange.
Yes.
Like
a psychedelic, like, crazy.
It's crafted very well. And, I mean, I was talking to you before when we first saw it and whatnot. You were just walking up, so you were half awake, and you heard me talking absolute shit about this film very early. So, I think the first 40 minutes are very MCU-esque. Like, it's very standard MCU. After that, and I think it's when Wanda shows up to attack, like, Strange and Wong and everyone.
Yeah, at Carmitage.
That's when Sam's vision and
Sam takes over. But even then, I feel like the fight with Gargantos was traditional MCU, but it was something about how they set up New York, where there's a lot of moving pieces. It's like people are running away.
Yeah, which I quite like, because a lot of the time when we go to these big cities or whatever, it feels lifeless. It doesn't feel like it's got a lot of life to the city. And we only see like a street or whatever, this feels like a city, do you know what I mean? People constantly running. You get a lot of zooms and like shots focused on them cowering away, which Sam does, especially in his Spider-Man films. So
yeah, they have an awesome showdown. I love the scene where it was a nice, like, Sam having a character on the ledge up high somewhere that needs help, like classic out of like his Spider-Man films. I loved how Wong and Strange were just kind of like hoping up to him, but Doctor Strange showed him some really crazy powers in the middle of that.
Powers in this were like really good and so different as well.
They were way more into the comics of like showing like these otherworldly hands or a giant head like chopping up like saving the woman from her getting crushed when she's like pushing the baby. That was like right out, like that's so Sam Raimi to me.
Yeah, which I really like. I love the fact that I know, like we have said, this film is very decisive. It is very up to personal taste and whatnot.
Yes, it is, and that's, I understand why a lot of people like, you either will like this movie or you won't,
which is fair, but
right.
And I think, like, I don't know if that's down to just Sam's like vision of the film or what, but I think because it's so Doctor Strange-esque, which sounds very odd, it's very corny and very, like I said, comic book true. Yeah. And I think that's what a lot of people won't really like. It's a comic book movie. I love that.
I like corny when it's done right.
Yeah, and there's enough corn in this for it to work. I don't think there's anything where it's like, that doesn't work. Like, for example, the fight between the two Stranges where they're using music notes. Amazing. Very Doctor Strange-esque. It's very corny.
Possibly my favorite fight in the whole movie.
But it's so creative. And it's like, this is what you want. You want stuff to like change up. Like the two wizards, like obviously they're going to be using like whatever they can, like to fight each other. They're not going to like
and also Doctor Strange being pinned against himself is like, holy crap, who's going to win this? Now we've seen that before, and that didn't end so well for that Doctor Strange, the one that was opposing for the good. But this was just, a great, amazing fight.
It's so, like I say, like it's so creative and different, and that's what like.
There's just a style. Sam's style makes have the movie give it a voice.
And this has been one of my biggest critiques about the film. A lot of MCU movies don't have a voice or a personality. They kind of just seem like they all fit in with the same universe. There isn't much to differ them and whatnot. This has personality, it has style, it has a voice, and you get that. And I have seen some people complain about that. Fair enough, but I would rather take style over the same formulaic shit constantly. And this is kind of one of those things where fans want Marvel to be different and do whatever. Okay, so this is what you get. So why then is the divide? Do you know what I mean? Because of these creative differences and whatnot. I just don't understand. But I think that the divide really comes from what they do with Wanda. Now, I don't mind what they did. It felt natural, and they explain why she's the way she is, which I'm happy for. I had a fear that they were just kind of going to show her, and that was it. Like, she's a villain, and I was like, But I like the fact that they explain why she's, the way she is. The Darkhold's corrupt her, and
which is so cool. Darkhold's a very, as we learned from WandaVision, very famous evil spell book. In the
which
comics.
First appeared in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right, which is crazy. I don't even know if that show's still canon or not. I don't know.
Yeah, which is weird, isn't it?
But it's there. Looked a bit different, but you have one of this, and this movie also had it, which is another major Conjuring book in the comic book is the Book of Vishanti, which is kind of the MacGuffin they're going after in this movie. They don't get to use it, obviously, but it's just cool that it had that sort of appearance. It's very important in the comic books. Yeah. So, there's so many things I can praise. I think there's like the one scene with America and Doctor Strange as they're fleeing away from Wanda and Carmitage. That scene just like perfectly. This movie's kind of like, as much as like, oh, it's the Multiverse of Madness, but some people say it doesn't really go into more multiverse. I can understand that, but this is kind of like, this is really paving a lot of the way, like how Spider-Man No Way Home did for the multiverse.
Yeah.
Like America Chavez is that actual character that will allow for many characters we know to travel the multiverse and beyond.
Yeah.
So, and plus with Loki season 2, we're gonna have more of that. So.
I will say quickly, I do really like American Chavez. I really enjoyed her.
She was
in
great.
The movie.
Fun balance between her and Doctor Strange, and like I said, I think their relationship is one of my favorite parts in the movie as well.
Yeah.
Where Doctor Strange has to earn America's trust because the other Doctor Strange didn't so much, and that kind of forces Steven like out of his own ways, like him being having such an ego, and also to want to feel like he can do anything, and he can do it himself, and that he can try and do it. I don't know, trying to change destiny or take advantage of things. That's what I'm trying to like get at with.
So, I guess we should talk about one of the cameo-heavy scenes in the movie.
Man,
the introduction to the Illuminati.
The Illuminati, which we were told in this movie is kind of like the Avengers in an alternate universe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was set up kind of like that, yeah.
It's kind of set up like that. They fight Thanos on Titan, like, kind of like they're in their own way. Something else happens a little bit differently where they have a Doctor Strange with them, but you'll have to explain, because this is something I haven't been fully clear upon with the movie, but Doctor Strange... So, alright, I should say the members of the Illuminati. We have Professor X, played by
the
Patrick
animated
Stewart.
Series, yeah.
Yep. And they played the jingle from animated series, which I shit myself when I heard that. We have Black Bolt, the same actor also that played him in
Inhumans. Yep.
Awful Inhumans series.
Which was a very... I'm surprised they went with that, because we know how bad Inhumans is, and it's kind of like Marvel don't want to remember that happened.
Well,
but,
they brought that back for... I mean...
Which was a shock. He was a very big shock, in all honesty.
Yes, he was. But he was one of the original members of the Illuminati, so I'm kind of like... They had half of their group be a part of the Illuminati, so it's and
I love the fact that he's in his, like, proper costume as well. Like,
yes, it looked really cool. I like how they made fun of him having a fork on his head as well.
Yeah. It's a very goofy kind of costume, but I like.
They also gave him the wings, which I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah. I like the fact that they took
they incorporated that. Yeah.
Obviously, we have Captain Carter, which isn't confirmed to be the What If version, and that's mainly due to the fact that the animation stuff could be just another universe. We do go to an animated universe at one point.
It's not confirmed, is it? It's not confirmed to be her, right?
No. So
because I was going to say...
It's just another variant.
It's different, yeah. I just thought, like, the way she shows up and everything, it's a much different Captain Carter. I just like saying, wait, if that's confirmed, how does that work?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think it is the same character and stuff. Like I say, we see Strange and America Chavez go to an animated world at one point. So there is animated world out there, or multiverses or whatever. Yeah. So it's not impossible for an animated character to step into the live action stuff.
Well, or vice versa, like with the Watcher.
Yeah, exactly, which is very exciting. Just the possibilities of all that stuff, I love all that. But we've got a variant on Captain Marvel, which was...
was that Maria Rambeau?
Yeah.
That was like the one I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. Yeah, okay. It's kind of like the same case with Captain Carter's like, oh, here's a character that became this character.
I kind of felt like that. Like, I was happy to see Carter.
Yeah, I was like, too. But Maria was like the one I was least interested in.
Yeah, I could have at least put someone else in. And then finally...
Oh, all right. the gates of heaven opened when he appeared through this magical box.
Which a lot of fans have said that it could be a bit of technology that Doom had, where he'd use that sort of thing, because it is like a square sort of energy thing.
It seemed so familiar. It was Professor or Dr. Reed Richards.
Yeah, which is mad.
Played by John Krasinski.
Which has been a fan casting for a very long time. Like,
I could not believe it. I was the costume, astonishing. He had his full beard, like a more modern day Reed.
Reed, which I do quite like.
I do too. But it left me with so many questions. Did you catch Doctor Strange mentioning about the Fantastic Four being like something that was like of the
in the 60s? Yeah. So I was watching a video on like reviewing it, and they basically said how it could be a reference to the Fantastic Four could have been a thing in the 60s, but they've been exploring other dimensions or whatever.
Right. So it might be kind of a Captain America case where they've been gone for so long.
Yeah, and then they come back, which I'd be fine with that. It could also be a reference to when they were created as well, like their first issue and stuff in the 60s.
So I'm just going to mention this real quick, because this will just dive into a whole Fantastic Four discussion. But my hope is that for a Fantastic Four movie that's set in the MCU, like with those characters, as much as I want John Krasinski to play Reed Richards, I'm glad he was able to in this movie. Fortunately, he bites the dust in a bit. It would be cool if it's set in the 60s, and then you go from there.
Which he still could play the part of Reed.
He could. I'm just not sure. It's gonna feel very different. I don't know how it's gonna. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see.
An idea went through my head as well is that if he were to sign up to direct the Fantastic Four,
I was just about to say that. What if he's there?
Like Quiet Place, like what he did with Quiet Place. So that was cool. Look, I don't know, but it's just hard to say because he just played the character that's freaking popped. Got turned into the freaking string cheese. So
yeah, we'll talk about how brutal the film is as well. And some of the kills. Oh
man, it is amazing. That scene in particular was like, holy crap.
Yeah. So that's it for the Illuminati, and Mordo's there as well.
Mordo's there. He's fine. He's not the Mordo that we know. He's a different Mordo. That was something I was curious about. I was like, wait, did like Mordo go around the multiverse and meet up with the Illuminati? No, it's just a different one. So that means our Mordo's still out there somewhere. I like Mordo in the first movie.
Yeah, we haven't seen him since that post-credit scene.
I'm going to say that post-credit scene, in my opinion, I rewatched it because I saw the Doctor Strange movie again. It's so underwhelming. It's like, no more sorcerers. It's like, you're trying to do no more mutants, and it's not like, like a shock, like, oh my god. No way, they're going to do that. Yeah. So
I'm curious to know what's happening with him, where he is and stuff. But I
don't think he's done much in like how many years he's had time to do it.
Yeah, is that all that time we haven't seen him? Unless
he didn't survive the snap, but even then, I don't know.
And I mean the Ultron bots are there. It never really gets explained who created them.
Yeah, so that's interesting. I'm just gonna say in my mind that it was Reed that programmed it, or Christine.
Yeah.
That's another one. And we should talk about Christine because we have not mentioned her yet. I really liked her in this movie.
I liked her a lot more in this movie than I did the first.
Yeah, two versions of her. The one that's in the main universe, but we don't really see. But we're focused on the one that comes from the Illuminati universe. And I think her relationship with Strange is very great. It's definitely better. It's definitely better in this movie. It's not really it's half focused in the first movie. I'm just glad that they brought characters that were in the first movie, like Dr. West, who he talks in the church in the beginning.
Yeah, which
discussion between them.
He was a character in the first one that Strange completely took the piss out of, kind of like he was, thought I'm better than you. It was kind of like that where Strange was very arrogant, and then he sits down and you hear the awful things that's happened to him, and it's like he's really hit rock bottom, and it's like, Jesus, like this side character is, which is a very minor character in the first movie. Just hearing his story, it's like, these are the people that we don't think about when these massive events happen and stuff. And yeah, so it was surprising to actually see him again. I will say I did like at the start, obviously with the wedding and stuff, how Strange is kind of seen as a celebrity and stuff, with certain people and whatnot, like not really wanting autographs, but like wanting pictures and whatnot, which I quite like. Adds to his ego a little, I guess. But obviously that leads into the first fight and whatnot, which is a very good fight. Let's talk about the violence, which we get our first taste of in that first fight. Where is it Gargantua? I could be wrong. Is that how you say his name?
No, Gargantos. Is that
That's it,
about?
Gargantos, our one-eyed baby. He was very adorable. Oddly,
he was.
I really liked his. He got surprised by a lot of things, and it was very weird. But I really enjoyed it. He was so obviously he doesn't speak. He's a fucking one-eyed squid thing. But I really thought he was adorable for some reason.
He's just a giant crusty eyeball with like his eyelashes being the tentacles, and
he was fun.
It's such a Sam Raimi creature or monster thrown in a movie. And Wanda summoned Gargantos to see like the runes on him, I just think visually that looks really cool, and like all the different like suction cups like with claws around it. There was just like a lot going on with the guy, and then killing him off, like plucking his eyeball off, was like the coolest thing.
Yeah, that was like Jesus.
Yeah,
and seeing that, I was like, okay, I understand the violence.
Yeah,
little did I know.
We know we're in for sure.
Yeah, that was like, God, like, alright, okay, I see you, you know.
Yeah, okay.
Like yeah, I really liked that creature. Like I say, he didn't say anything, he was just there to be fought.
Right, and we also had that one weird creature in the beginning with, like,
the mummy rats and stuff, yeah, which...
Yeah, that guy looked awesome.
Yeah. So we get... I guess we should talk about the start. It just jumps straight in. How did you feel about that? Because there was 40 minutes cut from the movie.
So, I don't know. I felt like it went like pretty smoothly of how like events just kind of unfolded. Like you had the opening scene, which I really liked, with America Chavez and Defender Strange, and that showed a lot about like setting up the whole movie overall. But I feel like as soon as Wanda attacks Kamatage, it just sets up the whole movie. It just lays it out and just goes right off from there. So I want to say that the great scene with Doctor Strange trapping Wanda in the mirror dimension was absolutely amazing. That was like the most like, oh no, we're cornered moment. Like that was awesome. The way that the camera's like tilted and doors are shutting or opening or something, like, and using reflection.
Yeah, I really like that.
A lot of that felt like it was right off Evil Dead to me, so much. And the way she came out of that one, what's it called?
It's like a drum, isn't it?
It is like a drum. When she comes out of that and she's like twisting her limbs and her head and its other parts, and then they kind of like all re-clicks together as soon as she steps out, that was genuinely terrifying. Like, really, like, oh my god, this is really crazy. Like, she just... It's like, I don't think anyone else was able to do that unless she didn't have the power to tap into the Darkhold. That was just so cool. It just
very freaky.
Very freaky.
And I will say this: it's definitely not a kids' film.
No, but that was like the moment we really got a taste of that. And then we'll go to like a little bit later because it kind of calms down after Strange and Chavez get away from Wanda.
Yeah.
Bruce Campbell has a very nice cameo in this movie, a close friend of Sam Raimi, and also has a star of Evil Dead, made multiple appearances in Spider-Man movies. He just plays like everyone's expecting. He's going to play this crazy character or something else. No, he's Papa Pizza or whatever the hell.
Yeah, he's just a Papa Pizza guy, and he gets his hand possessed, which is very Evil Dead 2, which I quite like.
That's because that's the brilliance of Bruce Campbell and his amazing performance of how he can just, Three Stooges kind of like point himself and like punch himself, and
very fun. I always love seeing Bruce Campbell in Sam's movies and stuff.
I thought that was such a great cameo.
Like he doesn't have to be like this mad character. He just just a cameo as anything. And there was an article that came out where Sam would phone him up for any of his films and go, "Hey baby," and Bruce would be like, "What is it now?" Or what you filming? And then Sam would say it, and then Bruce would be like, "All right, when and where." And I love that friendship. It's very sweet, and I love the fact that Sam, like, he doesn't have to put him in any of his movies, but he just wants to. Do you know? I really like that, and Bruce is always up for it, which is very fun.
They got to be so close because of how they, they have such a connection to how they started out movie making. Bruce acting and also Sam making movies. They both quit high school to go make the first Evil Dead. So the Book of Dead, as it originally was called. So it's so great and endearing to see a cameo in each one of these movies. Another thing that's a trait of a Sam Raimi movie is him including this car that appears in most of his films.
I think it appears in like almost every one of his films. Isn't it his car as well?
Yes, it is. It's the Oldsmobile. Oldsmobile. It was like what was it? It was kind of hanging in the air, like it was suspended in the air in the Sinister Strange universe, and that was No one else in the theater noticed that. I was just like, "Oh my god, there's the car!" I was waiting. I was just waiting for it. I was like, "Where is it? Where is it?" And there it was as they're walking down the street. I was like, "Yes!" So
I like that he puts those cameos in. I really like that.
Yeah,
it's very fun.
So I want to talk about Wanda versus the Illuminati. As a real horror element of like this part of the scene in the movie just exposes that completely, and it is amazing. First of all, Wanda's entrance into the concept that they have in this movie, where Wanda isn't able to travel the multiverse, but she can enter the mind and take over the body.
Yeah, which is like sleepwalking or something like that. You can you're sleepwalker. Dreamwalk, I believe it's called. Oh, that's it. Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, Dreamwalk. It is an awesome concept that appeals to me so much. I freaking love when they do dream stuff. So that was amazing.
Yeah.
But how she comes in this luminous red fog, or like kind of like white fog, but how she comes out and she has this Ultron head and just crushes it.
I think before that, so I'd just like to mention, and this is a very creepy scene, which I've really, really.
Oh
loved.
yes, no, we should mention about when she actually takes over.
Yeah. So firstly, she picks like a Wanda, from that reality, which Strange in America are at, America Chavez are at, and we see this Wanda with her two kids and stuff, and she heads towards the kitchen. We see a photo of her move and turn its head, which is freaky anyway.
That was great.
Then, so it's like she starts getting like, a bit light-headed and stuff, and it's like, okay, is she coming behind her or what's happening? You see, I should say it's the Scarlet Witch in the window, not Wanda. You see her in the window with the red eyes and everything, and you're like, oh shit. This Wanda gets taken over, and I will say one of my favourite moments in the movie. She breaks the fourth wall, which was creepy as shit.
Yeah, she looks.
I love that. In my screening, there was someone who gasped when she looked, and it was like a freaky, like, what the fuck. I love that so much, when especially when it's horror and this fucking crazy character just, looks at you. It's like, whoa. Gives you chills, that.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's talk about the brutal death of the Illuminati. I really enjoyed the scene, but I will say there was one or two things I have an issue with, and that's mainly down to if Reed kept his big mouth shut, maybe they could have done something.
Yeah.
Oh wait, Reed, you're meant to be the smartest person on the fucking planet or in the room.
Yeah, what the heck, man?
That didn't feel right to me. That kind of felt a bit like off. And I know there's been a lot of criticism about the writing for this movie and stuff, which I thought was fine. But that in particular, when the Illuminati come, because Wanda is obviously attacking, and we get to see her just decimate these Ultron bots, which is very obviously a reference to Age of Ultron, where she did the same there. She comes out the smoke covered in either blood or like robot oil and shit all over her face. It looks creepy. She's met by the Illuminati, and Reed tries to reason with her. Now, I don't know if Reed was being optimistic, but she's clearly not fucking mentally there.
No.
I definitely wouldn't get as close as he did. And as what I've previously said, he mentions that if Black Bull opens his mouth and speaks, she'll be dead. And immediately, with that information, she seals his mouth and his head caves in because he panics, which was brutal. It's something out of, like, The Boys or something. I mean, The Boys would have actually shown the head, like, you know.
Yeah.
But
well, I will say that
still,
that where she actually manipulates not outside the boundaries of her own reality, like actual, like, some part of someone's mouth is like, holy crap.
Yeah.
And also what she does going further with another part of the member of the team.
She seals his mouth, he panics, speaks, and his head blows, more or less, caves itself. And
you
see it, and it kills him. And it's like,
to the side, inside his mask, and it's like, oh my god.
It's like, and I'd say that probably was one of the more brutal ones. Here's another one, we will get to that. But that was like, jeez, that is Marvel pushing it.
That was like, that is pushing the rating for almost an horror
I'm
film.
surprised it didn't get higher for that. And then he drops to the floor, and you know, that's it. His head's caved in, which is pretty disturbing to see. I mean, gore and stuff doesn't really bother me anyway, but that was like, Jesus, especially for a Marvel movie. So then Reed is like, oh, well, you know, come on, I've got a family, and Wanda hits back with, well, at least I'll have a mother still, and it's like,
Ooh.
And then she starts fucking cheese stringing Reed.
Yeah, which I was like, oh, no, I kind of expected it.
Yeah, I was a bit like, oh, fuck's sake, like, you know, we've just got to see this version of Reed or whatever. I know we're going to get our own, but I was like, oh, man, he couldn't have put up a bit of a fight, I guess. But the brief few scenes that we see him use his powers, very, very little scenes that just tease it, they look good. It looks like the technology, like the VFX for that power, which is hard to pull off, has come a very long way. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of it when the film for the Fantastic Four in the MCU comes out. Yeah, so he gets killed, he gets fucking, you know, it's not brutal, it's just, you know, very...
But still, like, oh crap, but his head pops.
Yeah, it's like, oh, God.
His head pops, though, which I'm like, oh crap.
Yeah, and then we get Captain Carter and Captain Marvel fighting Wanda. Now, I feel like Carter was just studying the situation before she attacked, which, you know, makes sense. And that's probably why she lasted longer than she should have. So we get a fight scene and whatnot, and I thought, fucking hell, I wouldn't fucking fight her. I'd just go, do you know what? Go straight ahead. Just fucking pointless fighting her. Like, you know, I mean, Carter, you've got a shield. It's not going to do much, come on. But she puts a fight.
Well, you gotta give it to her that she lasted pretty long in the fight.
Oh yeah, 100%. And we get the I can do this all day. Yay, there we go.
Which is nice.
Bit cheesy. That it was there because obviously that was a Steve thing. But yeah, so Wanda takes out Captain Marvel, or she throws her so far. And then Captain Carter gets sliced in two. And the shield hits the wall behind her, and the guts and the blood are all over it, and it's like, Jesus.
Ooh.
Like, that shield...
Yay.
Yeah. So, when you see Cap throwing that shield at people, he's definitely breaking ribs and shit.
But strong enough, like, to throw it and have it do that is, like, woo!
Yeah, it's like...
Another violent death.
Very violent, very, very violent. But I enjoyed it. And then Captain Marvel comes out, who does last quite a while. Wanda consumes her power, like, she drains her power. And she hits her back to a statue who a lot of speculated is Athena because of and whatnot from Eternals. I couldn't make out who it was, but that falls and crushes her and kills her. I gotta say, the Professor X death is pretty brutal as well.
Oh man! All right, creepy moment.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, Wanda takes care of majority of the Illuminati, makes her way to the prison cell that holds America Chavez. Fortunately, her and Christina...
I will say quickly, I do love it in this film where you see characters doing something and you just see Wanda getting closer in the background. I fucking love
that was something you saw, and I
love that so much. Like, oh my god, hurry the fuck up.
But I also wanted to see her destroy more Ultron bots. Like, I was like, we gotta go back over there. But no, it's no biggie.
Yeah.
And it stands in the way of Wanda pursuing her rampage. Her onslaughter is Professor Charles Xavier, and she enters. He enters her mind, and there's this extreme close up that Sam Raimi loves to do, and I love seeing it. It makes sense. There's extreme.
We get to see Professor X's like actual power, like with the ripples in the air, which I really love.
Yes,
it's so good seeing like the actual like power.
It's so comic accurate. Him in his yellow floating chair, which is so cool.
Which is fucking massive.
Yeah, it is massive.
Really
He's really tucked into that too. He's kind of like just hanging in there.
Yeah, carry on. Sorry.
No. So yeah, it proceeds to go in his mind. Charles is like in a kind of like blank white void. And sees like Wanda under this rubble, the Wanda that's of this dimension where the Scarlet Witch has kind of like muddled her mind. And there's this red clouds and mist that's coming through, and it's kind of like a moment of silence, like the music cuts as he's trying to save this Wanda from under the rubble, trying to bring her up. I won't lie. Seeing Sir Patrick Stewart like sitting around as like him being Professor X, but him standing around kind of like this is probably like some kind of music video for a second. He's kind of like looking around a little bit in this black shirt and everything, and this kind of like carelessly going around. But the moment that she does, it was like kind of like I don't know, reminding me of It a little bit, where the person trying to save goes away, and then boom, jump scare comes out. Scarlet Witch looked horrific. Just like
that she looks like a demon.
His head. Just turns his head, cracks his head, and then it actually does it to him in real life. And that's Professor X just kind of like his head falls limp.
Which is a real shame. But
of his chair.
Professor X is known to die at this point.
So many times. Yeah, it's a shame. But man, I was like, that's a brutal death for him.
So all that happens, and there's more horror elements. Like one of my favourite moments, even though I've probably mentioned something else being my favourite moment, like the fourth wall break, which was great, is when Strange and the other Chavez and whatnot are under the Illuminati base, and they're running from Wanda, who's limping like a zombie. And you see the red eye.
That's the scene that proceeds after I
fucking love that.
Chavez Christine meet up, and they're trying to run away and get to the book.
When they're running and you see this red light behind them.
Yes.
I love that. It's like, yeah, that's so good. I love all that, and like I say, when Strange and that is in the foreground and behind them is Wanda limping, it's like, oh, that's freaky.
Yeah, she's like a horror movie monster, really.
Yeah, so we should talk about our universe Wanda and where she goes. She has her own throne in the movie, and it's guarded. So after she wipes out like the wizards and stuff, she takes Wong with her, which I'm like, oh god, if Wong dies, I'm gonna be so annoyed.
But he didn't.
Thankfully,
he survived it.
They get to this throne, and they do a really good scare, I will say.
Yeah.
And it's like this throne room, and Wanda starts lighting things up, and then the camera pans, and there's this big fucking Guardian thing, which I love the design of these things. I hope we get a figure of them, or whatever, at some point. They look really cool.
It's possible. Yeah, they looked cool.
We get a jump scare kind of thing from one of them, and that was nice. But yeah, the Scarlet Witch has her own throne, which is interesting and stuff. And obviously, like, one can't use his magic there and stuff. So yeah, that's where the final battle takes place. And whatnot, we've already mentioned the music fight. I guess we should talk about the final battle and stuff.
Yes, we should.
Yeah.
So Doctor Strange is separated from America Chavez as Chavez is pulled back into 616 universe, which is another big thing about this movie, is that the Illuminati, according to Christine, they kind of like identified numbers for different universes.
Yeah, which I quite like.
And they called it 616, which is also something that Mysterio, I guess he called, and also Far From Home as well. Thought that was a very fascinating fact. Like, this confirm, and I'm glad it's not just a part of the overall Marvel canon, including the comics. It's in these movies that it's 616. So I'm very glad that they confirmed that. Mm-hmm. So the movie kind of like is culminating as Doctor Strange is in the Sinister Strange universe. He faces him and has a musical fight. He wins. He gets a hold of the Darkhold, and decides that his only chance of really stopping Wanda is having to use it. So he does the sleepwalking himself, the dream walk himself. He uses that, and he uses the decomposing...
corpse of Defender Strange, who
yes,
I thought was going to be in the movie more.
And as his own, his own personality. But no, Strange uses him as a little puppet to fight Wanda. Basically a ragdoll.
But we get one of the like very metal moments from this movie where Strange makes a cape out of the damned, or the souls of the damned, which was...
Yes. So I just want to say real quick, when Strange brings to life, or takes over that version of Defender Strange from where he was buried on top of the rooftop, the way he comes out with his hand, it is absolutely Sam Raimi, like Evil Dead perfection. That was so cool to me. I absolutely love that.
Yeah. I completely agree. And I thought Defender Strange, like as a zombie, was really cool and stuff.
Yeah. I love the prosthetics that make it, which is something I'm very excited to see if we get more behind the scenes of how that was done. It looked great. It's kind of one of those things where you see that it's probably a blend of CG and also practical, which I like, because you don't know what exactly is real or not.
We get the Souls of the Damned, which was a bit of a scare, I guess.
Really cool. Those guys sounded like the demons from Evil Dead, like how they were talking and everything. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. And I like the fact that Wanda was like really...
She was off-put by them.
Yeah, which was like, I like that. But yeah, seeing Strange craft this cape out of the Souls of the Damned, that was so fucking... That was sick. That was like... That's so metal, but like... Mwah. And it is one of the strong things about this film. It's very gothic. It's very, like, within that, like, tone, like, style-wise and stuff like that. So, yeah, I loved that. I really, really loved that. And, so the final fight happens. It's not like a big battle or anything. And whatnot. Because America Chavez is going to get sacrificed, or Wanda's going to sacrifice her to get her powers and stuff so she can travel the multiverse. Obviously, Defender Strange comes in. At one point, I thought Wong had died. He gets fucking thrown off this throne thing.
Oh,
I was like, mate, if they just killed him like that would be so shit.
Yeah.
Thankfully, they didn't. He's a real G. He's a strong man. You know, he comes back with vengeance. And, we get more fight. We get another fight with Defender Strange and Wanda, which was very entertaining. Wanda hits him with some sort of attack, and he starts like rotting away, which is very interesting. It was kind of like a skeleton was left on like half the body, which I quite like. I'm not being funny, but if a fucking zombie came up to me and started talking as America Chavez, I would shit myself. But she's pretty chill about it.
But she's like, I've been through a lot of crazy stuff today. It's probably pretty normal by now, so I don't know.
I will say I kind of wish those big monster things actually put up a fight.
They were just kind of like...
they didn't do anything.
Yeah.
It would have been cool if they actually had a fight with them and whatnot, and had creative ways of killing them or whatever, but whatever. Then we get American Chavez, she finally learns how to use her power, which is a very interesting, cool visually power, which I really, really like. She starts showing she shows Wanda what she's become, and the kids are genuinely terrified by her. And she breaks down, after she obviously hurts her other self, she's very I wouldn't hurt anyone. And it's like, are you sure about that? Are you sure you wouldn't hurt anyone?
Well, sorry, your age.
Very hypocritical,
Yeah, big time.
But I love how Wanda goes from... And I've got to say, Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda Maximoff in the Scarlet Witch in this movie, she's by far the best part of the movie in terms of acting and everything like that.
Yes.
She goes from very charming to very sinister and creepy, and it's I love the range she gets in this movie, and whatnot. So the Scarlet Witch sees what she's become, or Wanda sees what she's become, and doesn't like it or whatever, and then she goes back to our universe, and then I don't know if she sacrifices herself or not, but it's kind of implied something happens, because to destroy the Darkhold you have to give a sacrifice, you have to
Yeah,
and we see that in the movie.
She got rid of every Darkhold across every universe.
So I'm curious to know if she will come back. She is getting a solo movie, but that could be a prequel thing or whatever. But I don't know if it's in the comics or what. But isn't the Scarlet Witch immortal in the comics?
I would say so. Yeah, obviously she's going to come back. She's going to be resurrected or something in some way.
So I'm curious to know what's going to happen with that. But we don't really see anything after that point. And then we're in Kamatage with
as they're slowly rebuilding and kind of
So it's slowly rebuilding, and America Chavez is training and stuff, and whatnot. But I think it was you that said you had a problem with that scene, just how Strange kind of leaves her there.
Well, it's kind of an issue. It's just kind of, I didn't see it as an issue. It's just kind of funny how Doctor Strange is America comes in thanks for saving me, and all. It's and I try. And he's like, yeah, kid, good luck with the training, see ya. He just goes back to his normal, daily routine. It's dude, I have a girl that has, this crazy power that maybe other people like Wanda would want. Maybe I should protect her a bit more. But, she's at Carmontage, but look, those fences didn't work at all. I don't know. That's kind of something I was he just kind of left her. She's there with other people protected, but for how long? And they're not gonna really protect her if a being like Wanda shows up,
Yeah.
So I don't know. But no, it's not a big issue. That was just kind of a funny way how they did it.
Yeah. And I will say, I hope Marvel drop a director's cut for this movie, because I would love to see the extra 40 minutes that they cut. I think so. The movie was set.
Yes. Yeah.
Was originally set to be 2 hours and 45 minutes, but leading up to the release, they just cut 40 minutes, which is very odd.
I think, as far as I know, like, look, I don't know what the other footage is, but how this movie runs in terms of this plot of, like, running away, essentially, most of the time, getting away from the enemy, and then coming back around to try and stop them, it works. It goes along very well, I think. I can't complain much about the pacing.
Yeah, I mean, and then, like, the ending, which was very unsettling. Strange is just going about his day, drops to his knees.
Not even, there's such a small gap between the real and final battle, and then, like, alright, you have a couple minutes, like a minute or so, like, Carmontage being rebuilt, America says bye to Strange, like, we'll probably we might see in the next movie, maybe, possibly, she's gonna be a bigger character now. But, and then, Doctor Strange goes out, wants to have a nice, lovely walk around the neighborhood, and then, oh my god, he starts not feeling right, and then this third eye comes on his head. I'm like,
and then starts screaming, and it's like, Jesus.
Screaming. It is so loud in the theater, it's not even funny.
It's like, what the fuck? It's
the side effects of using the Darkhold.
Yeah, so, which is, I really enjoyed that, and I love really the fact it just ends like that.
And then you're like, what the hell? I just thought that was a cool and very Doctor Strange way to end a movie.
Yeah.
So, like, compared to the first movie, you had this very, like, triumphant, like, ending. Like, he's just kind of, like, a kind of quiet ending, I should say. That's a very calm, quiet ending where he looks at the watch, looks out the window of the Sanctum Sanctorum, and now he's walking outside, and their eye shows up on his head. But post-credit scene kind of fills in the gap with that. We were introduced to a very important and key Doctor Strange character in the comics, Clea. She is the niece of Dormammu, the Dark Overlord of the Dark Dimension. I've been wanting them to bring back Dormammu. Seems like they're going to do it in the next movie because literally cuts open a tear in reality that shows the Dark Dimension, and I'm like, holy shit, they're going to go back there. So I'm very excited for whatever a third Doctor Strange movie is going to be with him and Clea teaming up. Not to mention that Clea is being played by, was it Charlize, not Charlene, or I don't know her name exactly. I know of her, but I don't know her name. She's a very famous actress. Do you know her name by chance, Rangus?
No, I haven't got a clue.
Charlize Thor? I'm sorry, I'm butchering.
No idea.
But she's a famous actress, and I think that was like a great Charlize Theron. I think I'm naming off the top of my head. Very that's a good casting for playing her. So I'm very excited to see more of her and Strange team up in the well, they do in the comics, but in the next movie or wherever it's going to be next. That's going to be very cool. My quick hopes for Doctor Strange 3, obviously bring back Dormammu. Hopefully have like a character like Nightmare, which is a very early Doctor Strange villain, possibly the first Doctor Strange villain, if I'm being honest.
There was a lot of speculation of him being in this movie.
That was like way back then when they were talking a sequel villain. So Wanda's basically the villain of this movie, but it would be cool if Nightmare is pretty much like one of the main villains. Possibly bring in the Watcher. I think that'd be really cool. Use Jeffrey Watu to bring in the movie, and also it would be really great as like kind of more early on, also throughout Doctor Strange history of the comics, bring in Eternity, a very key central cosmic character. That'd be really cool. An actual living tribunal, which they have one shot in this movie that plays very big reference to it, and just leaves it immediately. So that would be cool. It would be really, really cool if Doctor Strange faces like kind of a cosmic council, like the group of like cosmic beings that appear in the Infinity Gauntlet comics. If anyone knows that, good for you. That's a kind of like group I'm like kind of referring to, where living tribunal is like a big part of that as well. Or Lord Chaos and all the other beings. But, I don't know. These movies can just get into that easily and not have to, like, they can explain, but it would just work much better for a character like Doctor Strange. So, and I think we covered a lot we wanted to say about the movie here. We loved it. What
would you rate, like, give it a rating out of 10?
Out of 10, I'm gonna give it a 9 right now. It's pretty high, I know, but I still like really excited and really love the movie, so I'm gonna give this high rating for now.
I would say an 8 for me.
That's fair.
I think, like I say, if I saw the extra 40 minutes, see what there were, and the director's cut, it definitely could be a 9.
Yeah.
For me, but yeah, an 8. I've got issues with the movie. I did really enjoy it, but I didn't like proper love it or anything. It's not like my new favourite or anything like that. I did really enjoy it though, and I love the stuff that's in there. They just could have went further with it, which is fine, you know. So moving on to our next segment, we're going to rank the MCU. I think what we should do is go from like top to bottom, or actually, what do you reckon? Do you want to start from the bottom upwards?
Yeah, I think
and then we can like
say
like my number 27 is so and so, and yours is so and so. So yeah, let's start from the bottom. Number 27. What's yours?
All right, so for me, I think it's going to be Eternals.
Yeah, mine's Eternals as well.
Unfortunately, this is a Marvel movie that really did not. I don't hate the movie, but I just ultimately think about it has just done nothing for me.
Yeah, it did nothing for me as well. I mean, there was the best thing for Eternals for me was visually, the direction, and there was some very nice shots, but the characters and everything like that I just thought were really bland, and the story itself was whatever. No one was really likable.
Yeah,
and, it's pretty forgettable. Number 26.
So I'm changing them around one more time to see.
Right, so my 26, I'll start with me since you're still working on it. My 26 is Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Okay.
And it's just, for me, it's a very boring movie. It's not terrible or anything. It just does nothing for me. Yeah, I don't know, it's just one of them films that I just didn't really connect with, I guess. Yeah, what about you? What's your 26?
My 26 is going to be Thor: The Dark World.
Fair.
I saw this movie when it came out on my birthday, and I was immensely disappointed.
My Thor: The Dark World's quite higher up than me.
It's not. It's just okay.
I know it's the film a lot of fans don't like, but I'll get to it. Don't worry. So 25. What's yours?
All right, 25. It's going to be Captain Marvel.
Ooh, mine's Black Widow.
Ooh, interesting.
Came out too late, and it's a very mediocre film that has a very shit twist that ruins probably one of the better characters, Taskmaster. So yeah. What about you? Why is Captain Marvel there?
Oh God, I didn't see Captain Marvel for almost a year after it came out. Oh no, that's not true. No, that's not true. I saw it several months after it came out. For me at that time, I was like, that was pretty late for seeing a Marvel movie. But the character just did not work, and the twist in the movie, it was just a lot of things how are done in the character. I could not buy the Captain Marvel or relate to her or try to find any kind of connection you really can with some MCU characters or really like who they are. Captain Marvel is just powerful. That's really all I can really say. And that it's kind of I think the movie tries to be something where it's self-identity in a sense of finding who you are, but obviously she's forgot who she is. There's some parts I like. It's mostly just how 90s music is used. There's some stuff that it goes back on about with seeing Nick Fury and Coulson again, but in the 90s pre-Avengers, and everything. It has potential to explore some really cool stuff at a certain time in the MCU, but ultimately doesn't take advantage of it, I think. And the villain's very muddled. I don't really like the villain at all. It's just an okay movie that I don't really plan on watching anytime soon. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. What is your number 24? Yeah, your 24.
So, I don't want to be mean to this movie, but I do like parts of this movie. I do, but it's like, I look back and I'm like, oh, I don't really have as much of a... It doesn't have much of an impact on me. I'm going to say the first Thor.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's not terrible. It's alright, you know? Yeah, it just kind of paves the way for him to be in the Avengers. It's just, here's Thor, here we go. I like Destroyer, I like some parts of it, but honestly, I feel like I've forgotten half of that movie and I need to watch it again. Like, whoa, you know?
That's the first MCU movie I saw in cinemas.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, it's funny, they bleached Hemsworth's eyebrows.
Eyebrows, yeah, it's very weird. My 24 is Iron Man 2.
Ooh,
a film I've never enjoyed.
Okay.
I love the Mark V suit-up scene. That's great. And I love the end battle where Rhodey and Tony are back-to-back and the face helmets come down and the drones attack. I love that. Everything else, couldn't give a shit about.
Yeah.
I think it's a very meh movie compared to the stellar first one. Yeah. I've never liked Iron Man 2, personally. 23.
Alright, 23 is going to be Age of Ultron. Avengers Age of Ultron.
Whoa, that's low. I thought mine was low, but Jesus.
I don't know. There's not a fiber in my body that goes back to thinking about this movie very much. Except of that, it's just a hodgepodge, like, it's a big mess, really.
I mean, I'm not a fan of the movie that much, but wow, I didn't think it would be that low on your list.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't really think about. I don't say like, well, that was kind of an underrated movie. I just got like,
I mean, it's fair. It's your opinion at the end of the day.
They screwed up Ultron so much for me that I was just.
Yeah, I will say that Ultron is so
especially compared to how they did him in part of how they did him in What If. I was just I'm way more happier than this.
Yeah.
So
that's fair.
I don't know. There's just they couldn't handle what they were trying to do, and I loved it when it came out. I saw it in theaters. But after a while, I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
got
Marvel
a lot
movie,
of issues.
No one really talks about. So and it's for kind of a good reason. It's kind of just like
my number 23 is The Incredible Hulk.
Okay.
Now, this is a movie I've only seen once and only want to watch once. It's very bland, but it's got probably some of the better Hulk action sequences. Especially when he comes out of that building, out the smoke, and just tears up the military. Especially when he fights Abomination. That's great. You can't deny those are very top-notch Hulk moments, but the rest of the film is so meh. It's just whatever.
Yep.
Yeah. So number 22.
I'm gonna say Black Widow.
Fair.
I like this movie quite a bit more when I saw it, but due to its kind of lacking villain and partial with story, it just doesn't do a whole lot for me. I don't hate it. I enjoyed it when I watched it.
Yeah, it just doesn't do anything for you. That's fair.
It was because it was a big thing at the time when it came out that it was Marvel returns to the theaters, moves to the movies, and I was very excited. So I'm glad the character got a solo film. That's all I can really say. And I feel like they did what some parts they did with Natasha was a good, like some good work for her character and a good closing to her.
Yeah, that's fair. My 22 is Thor: The Dark World. I don't hate this is one of those weird films where it gets hated on and stuff like that, and it has its issues, but I just find enjoyment out of it. It's very bizarre.
You find enjoyment out of Malekith?
Well, not really Malekith, but...
Yeah, and no one can remember his name. I only do because there's an action figure of him, and I remember from the comic books. So,
yeah, but I love the Thor and Loki stuff. And
doesn't the freaking Doctor play Malekith also?
Yeah, it's Christopher Eccleston who's the ninth Doctor who plays him.
That's crazy to me. What the heck?
Yeah. I've just... It's always been one of those films where I'm like, fair enough, I get it, but I do kind of... It's a guilty pleasure for me, Thor: The Dark World.
Interesting.
21. What's your 21?
21 is going to be Incredible Hulk, and I will say I agree with your opinions about like the fight scenes are like my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah, I think that's the strongest part of the film.
It is. There's some parts I really do like with the character, but those are the parts that stuck out to me most of the movie. Having Thunderbolt Ross as a character in the movie is so great. Tim Roth as Abomination, something I'm still kind of mixed about, but it's grown on me over time. Yeah. I don't think it's as bad as people say it is. I think it's okay.
It's definitely the black sheep of like the MCU. Like
it is. It's very odd. You're like, this is part of the Marvel movies. This is so weird to me.
Yeah, so, but it's I get that. My 21st pick, is Captain Marvel. I just think it's an okay MCU movie. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I just think it's okay. It's definitely not the worst thing they've put out. And I think the film just had a thing going for it because of Brie Larson's comments on certain things, and it was like
that was a big deterrent of me watching the movie, was just because of how.
I think it's fine. The villain's very forgettable. It's a very meh movie, I guess. But yeah, it's not really for me, I guess. What's your 20th pick?
All right, my 20th pick is going to be a movie I've had a very complicated relationship with, Iron Man 3.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Iron Man 3 is very close to where we are.
Okay. So. Yeah, I don't love this movie as many other people. I still have very mixed thoughts about it to this day. There's parts of me that really likes the movie.
Yeah.
And other parts I'm like, man, I don't know. It's hard to describe to tell how I really feel. But I will say, I think Tony's a character that movie really got to flourish, and I like that a lot. Just problems with the villain. I was like, when I first came out, I was expecting the Mandarin, but I like the twist. I look back on it sometimes, but the twist doesn't ultimately make up for a very good villain, in my opinion. It's just kind of one of those, you did me wrong in the past. Now I'm back here now to do something bad to you. RJ killing is just not like that never really fully landed for me. So I think the final battle, that's a great scene. I love that set piece for it. And the Malibu Mansion getting blown up and attacked by 2 shoot rockets. I don't like the Iron Man suit, the main one in that movie.
Or the Mark 42.
Mark 42.
Yeah.
The gold does not work for me whatsoever. And they knew that after making this. They're like, that's not. Yeah. It was experiment. Get it? I appreciate them trying it, but it just ultimately for me, it's not. It's like reverting the Iron Man color. So.
Yeah, that's fair. Just a quick mention, I have just remembered one Marvel movie that wasn't in my list. I've just sent you what it is. Is it in your list, just to make sure? Because we're going to have to adjust the numbers.
Oh, no, I have it in there.
Okay, so there is 28 movies.
Yeah.
Okay, apologies for that. So my 21st pick, let's say, because I've just added that. I am so sorry about that. My 21st pick is Thor, the original. It's probably the weakest out of Phase 1. Well, I say that Iron Man 2's there, and Hulk. So, as the first movies go, it's definitely the weakest. Yeah, it's whatever. The Destroyer fight's good. Yeah. There's not much I can really say on Thor. It's one of those movies.
The first fight with him and Loki on the bridge is kind of cool, ending, but I don't know. It's pretty straightforward. I don't hate the movie. It's like, I can tell you that all the more movies I never came out like I hated that movie.
Yeah.
Frustrated or just like this is so bad. But Captain Marvel was kind of like when I was like, whoa, and Eternals was like, all right. I kind of laughed at a lot of moments.
Eternals is the mixed bag. Yeah. So, yeah, now that I've just did my things, I'm trying to think where we are. So we were talking about our 20th pick, so I'll quickly say that, and then we can go out with 19th pick, so we know where we are. My 20th pick, like I said, I've just adjusted, so I do apologise. My 20th pick is Iron Man 3. I love the functionality of the Mark 42, how it can call to you and attach. I love that. The suit itself is very ugly. But the third act, I really enjoy seeing the Iron Legion come in and seeing all these suits. That's what I wanted as a kid, just seeing all these Iron Man suits come together, and I love all that. But it's a very meh movie, like Killian as the villain and stuff. It's like, whatever. I am the Mandarin. Like, yeah, whatever.
You'll never see me coming.
The Mandarin was... I don't know how well received he was with the comics and stuff, but he seemed like he was a very threatening character and stuff like that, and then you get Iron Man 3 that kind of just shits on the character. So, yeah, that's my 20th pick. 19th, what's your pick? Mine's very controversial.
Alright, I'm going to do a little change here real quick, right?
Okay.
The movie I'm about to talk about is something I wish I put in earlier in the list. And by mean that is that it's a movie I don't really... As I thought about it more, that it's a movie I really technically haven't fully seen, but I know what happens in it. It's Black Panther. I have a problem with this movie because I think it's the only appearance in this movie Black Panther I don't really care for. The villain of Eric Killmonger is one of my least favorite MCU villains. I cannot stand Eric Killmonger. He's just a very annoying character. Acts like he's apparently good at everything, and it's just kind of it doesn't. I just found him very just unlikable, and a lot of people were able to relate to him. Why he wants to do it, but I never care for him at all. And I think a lot of that movie, I've fallen asleep trying to watch that movie 3 times, and that's no offense to everything, but I think the Wakanda location, how like a lot of that movie explores it, I think that's great. That's an aspect of the movie I do like. Chadwick Boseman, and I think the cast does give a good performance. I just don't care for Michael B. Jordan's character. And plus, there is some very wonky CGI of the final fight. Never liked that PlayStation 2 graphics. They still don't hold up to me. So I'm going to put that, as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to put that between Captain Marvel and Thor: The Dark World.
All right, okay.
So that would make Iron Man 3 still my 19th place, right? So I don't know. It's in between there, guys. I'm sorry. Yeah, I just thought about it. I was like, man, Black Panther's in the wrong spot for this. So I have it in between there. So it's definitely like the third lowest.
Yeah. So is that like your 19th pick or whatever?
All right. So if we're talking about 27, well, yeah. That should be 28, 29. Yeah, so 27, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 20, 19. 19 would be Iron Man 3.
Okay, fair enough.
All right. Oh, shoot. We're getting this all wrong. I'm just thinking about it. Because we're going to have Doctor Strange in this mix as well, and he's going to come up soon. But
so how many on your list do you have right now?
All right, so for movies, we have at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9. I have 9 movies.
Right, so in your complete list, you should have 28 movies.
In a complete list? Yeah. So
if you've got 28 movies, that's correct.
I'm saying how many movies we talked about so far.
All right, yeah. So we've had 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 24, 21, 20. Now we're on to 19. So your 19th pick would be Iron Man 3.
Yes, it would.
Mine, and you might shoot me for this.
Oh, crap.
Spider-Man Far From Home.
No! I kind of expected this. I knew you were going to do this. So I'm going to act like I'm surprised.
Yeah. This movie... I want to love it. It's got some really good stuff in. There's stuff that I really like. But I think it drags in parts, especially in the second act. When the two are in all over, it just... I find it such a slog at times. it just didn't do anything for me, this film, which is pretty shit. Because I love Mysterio, he looks amazing. Yeah, it's just that movie for me, do you know?
Yeah.
And in all honesty, it does seem like it's the least liked out of that trilogy by a lot of fans, so I'm glad I'm not alone, I guess, but I don't think it's this low for people.
That movie's a very conflicting movie between that trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
It's either going to be like Spider-Man fans are going to like it or they don't.
Yeah.
For me personally, I love the movie, but I understand why people don't like it. It's not traditional in a Spider-Man movie sense, but I think the movie exploring boundaries outside of Spider-Man being stuck in New York or going to the places.
Yeah, like all that stuff didn't bother me.
That's what bothered a lot of people, and they didn't feel like a Spider-Man movie. I think it did. I think it, but that's just me personally. I'm not gonna be biased because Mysterio is my favorite part of that movie.
Yeah,
but
he's great in the movie.
So,
what is your 18th pick then?
All right, so it's gonna be Iron Man 2.
Ooh, that's quite high-ish, I guess.
Yes, it is.
Interesting.
It's interesting actually because there are parts of this movie I thoroughly enjoy. I don't know. There's some great moments. I can just action scenes, character moments. Really, what Tony goes through, I think, is pretty cool. It does set up part of the Avengers. I think the scene with Tony watching the footage of his father is always a great, memorable MCU scene. Yeah. Probably one of the best parts of that whole movie. I absolutely love seeing Tony and Rhodey work together, fighting off Whiplash at the end when they're all suited up. That's a really cool moment. I also like them when they fought each other. I don't know. There's moments like that I really like. Scarlett Johansson being introduced as Black Widow. That's neat. Never like, oh my god, but that's the cool fight scene and they introduce her. But I don't hate the movie. Whiplash is kind of a villain, and also Justin Hammer. So
that's fair. My 18th pick is Black Panther. I love Black Panther. I loved Chadwick in the role. The best thing for me with this movie is the culture of Wakanda, seeing all that, and just like, the style of it all and whatnot. But the things that do bring it down, definitely Killmonger, who I don't dislike as much as you. I don't mind him. He's not amazing or anything. But, him and the VFX really let this film down massively. And it's kind of a retelling of The Lion King in a weird way, in certain aspects. The VFX in this movie are probably some of the worst in the MCU. Terrible. Yeah. That third fight, in the mountain in Wakanda, Jesus. I remember seeing that back in 2018 because, I was hyped as shit for this movie. And IGN put that clip out, and I watched it, and I was like, no way that's real. Surely that's not finished. And when I watched the movie, I was like, what? Like, oh my god.
I'm looking back at the scene right now. I'm actually watching it again. It's just...
So bad.
I don't know why that didn't work, but it just did not.
It just looks like rubber and there's no texture or anything. It's terrible. Number 17. What's your 17th pick?
Alright, it's going to be the first Ant-Man movie.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I don't know why I'm like that, because that's only one up from... Alright, fair enough.
Never mind. Yeah, but no, I like the first Ant-Man. It took
I'm
me a while.
surprised that you put Ant-Man and the Wasp over it, but yeah, I'm curious to know what you think.
Alright, so yeah, I enjoy Ant-Man and the Wasp a little bit more, and actually, I will spoil it. It's coming up next.
Alright, fair enough.
Yeah, I like the first Ant-Man. It's fun. It's really cool how it shows the concept of the suit, and I'm glad they took Ant-Man in a funny, more comedic approach for an MCU movie like Foley. I think it works. I like Yellow Jacket as a villain, nothing crazy. It's just a fun, it's kind of a heist movie, I kind of like that a little bit.
Yeah.
It's just I enjoy the movie. Paul Rudd as Ant-Man, Great casting, Michael Douglas. I think everyone in that movie's like played pretty well. So I like the movie. I do.
Yeah, so, I mean that's fair. My 17th
I get more enjoyment out of it than I have with the other movies I've really mentioned. So yeah.
I mean that's fair. That's fair. My 17th pick is Age of Ultron. Yeah, like I completely agree with you. They did Ultron very dirty. Age of Ultron, more like the week of Ultron. He just doesn't seem that threatening when he should be. He should be very, very threatening and intimidating, and it just doesn't come across like that. I've got a lot of issues with the way this film looks, with its colour grading especially. It's one of the ugliest MCU movies put out. The colour grading goes from oversaturated blue to orange from scene to scene. It's like they had a hard-on for those two colours for this movie, and it's awful.
Yeah.
Like I say, it's very ugly. The colours are just very bland, and just ugh, it's so ugly to look at. The story I don't really care for. They tried to do some horror-esque things with it, I guess, like the Scarlet Witch stuff, but yeah, it's just very whatever. The best part of the movie is the Hulkbuster fight.
Yeah, that's a pretty good part.
But apart from that, it's easily the worst Avengers movie by far. It just does Ultron so dirty. And like you say, What If does a better job of portraying that character. So 16. What's your 16th pick?
Alright, so 16 is going to be Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Fair.
I found this movie to be more enjoyable than the first one. Mm-hmm. I thought it was just more of a... just kind of like taking it further with Ant-Man as a character in the Wasp. And I love the Wasp. I think she's great. I think the costume's a really cool one. And I had a lot of fun with this movie personally. Like when I went to go see it, I was excited for it. And
I will say my favourite scene out of that movie is when Scott gets stuck mid-shrink and he's like the height of a toddler.
That is the funniest scene in the movie to me, because it reminded me of a friend I had at school always wearing a blue sweatshirt and like him wandering the halls. Mm-hmm. So that movie, like that part of the movie, just really stuck out to me. Really
I do like that scene, but yeah, that's fair. My 16th spot is the first Ant-Man movie. I think it's very fun. Yellow Jacket is such a one-note villain, but I love Scott in that movie. Again, Ant-Man has a hard-on for the colour orange. It's very oversaturated with the colour orange, like the colour grading. It's, if you notice it, I promise you now, you will not unsee it.
You can't see it?
Yeah. So it's weird how Age of Ultron and this, which came out back to back, was so saturated in orange. It's very weird. It's fun. I love the stuff that they do with Ant-Man's powers. Like obviously when he first tries it out in like the bathtub and stuff like that, and I much prefer what they do with it in this than obviously Ant-Man and the Wasp. I just think it's very creative and it's very, very fun. So 15. Let's go to number 15. What's your 15 spot?
Alright, so 15, this is where it's just going to really pick up with a lot of these movies I love. First Avenger.
Okay, that's weird because I've got exactly the same movie.
No way! Alright, so we can kind of like... Alright, this is great because we can just kind of blend about like both our thoughts back and forth.
Avengers 1.
Yeah, man, I love this movie. Especially when it came out, I was super excited. I don't know. I just I love Cap. Cap's great. This is my least favorite of the Cap trilogy, but it's not a bad movie by any means.
Oh no! Wait! Are you on about the First Avenger?
Yeah.
Mate, I'm on about Avengers 1. Sorry.
Oh. No
way have you got the First Avenger this far down.
Oh. No, actually, the First Avengers is my next one. Okay.
I do apologise. I completely misheard you. Mine's Avengers 1. Sorry.
Okay. I picked the first Captain America. Jeez.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I got so excited. I was like, yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, carry on.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So, yeah,
I thought we both put Avengers 1.
I did too. All right, yeah. So First Avenger, I love it. Wish we got more Red Skull. We did a little bit of Infinity War, but love this movie.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Cap's costume in this, his original costume, one of my favorite looks for Cap.
I love that costume.
So
but I'll talk about that more when I actually get to.
Yeah, I don't care for the redesign in Winter Soldier. I will say.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What of the same costume or what?
Yeah, but they changed it. They like slightly like changed it.
All right, fair. Oh, right,
I don't know why.
I thought you were on about like the stealth suit and stuff.
No. I'm talking about like when they brought the classic costume back he wears in the third act.
Yeah,
that's changed.
That's fair. So my pick, when I completely misheard you, is the first Avengers movie.
I mean, they both had Avengers, so I mean,
yeah, exactly. That's what I was like. Oh, the first like I was like, what? That's why I was like, the way I was. So the first Avengers movie, I enjoy it, but I don't love this movie. I think it's very safe in terms of like what it could have done or whatever. It is what it needed to be. There's a lot to like. Like obviously, we got the first like team up shot of the core Avengers and stuff like that. I think the thing that brought it down for me was Loki, because I never really liked that character, and he was obviously the main villain. So I was like, it's got my favourite Iron Man suit, the Mark 6, which I absolutely love. I hate Cap's costume in the film. I know it's very meant to be traditional, but it just does nothing for me. But it's got very good moments, this movie. It feels like the very innocent Avengers movie for me, like out of the four. But yeah, that's my 15th pick. What's your 14th pick?
Alright, it's going to be the first Avenger.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll mix up this time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I still enjoy this movie at times. When it first came out, it was 10 years ago around this time, which is crazy to think about. It's a fun movie. It doesn't hold up as well, I think, with some of the action, but the chemistry between characters was something I've always enjoyed about the movie.
Yeah.
And I think that still holds up very well for the first time interacting. It was a big thing when it came out. So I still enjoy many parts of the movie, but it's like my least favorite of the... well, no, that's not true. Age of Ultron... Age of Ultron's there, unfortunately. So,
yeah, I mean that's fair.
I still like it. So,
I mean, you've also said as well that you weren't a massive fan of Loki either. So.
No, I'm not. No, and that was like, yeah,
which is fair.
Yeah.
My 14th pick is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Ooh.
Now, I've had a love-hate relationship with this movie. I loved it when it first came out, and then after that I just couldn't stand it. This film, for me, is such a letdown to the first, which I genuinely think is so close to perfect. There's just so much goofiness in this movie that I don't like. Like, I don't like Taserface. I can't stand that character. I found him very grating and just very... he just really got on my nerves. I know he's meant to be a really pathetic character, but like even the Ravagers in this movie I didn't like. I really found them very annoying. There's some other stuff like those gold people that, obviously Birth Adam Warlock, I can't stand them. I know they're meant to be that way, but yeah, just whatever.
I get that.
Things I do love Ego. I do love that, like, I do love the story, like the father-son sort of thing. I love Yondu and what they do with him and stuff. I do like it more than I did. I will say that. It's not a terrible movie, but it's nowhere near as good as the first movie, for me anyway. Number 13. What's your 13th pick?
It's going to be Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
That's fair.
I really liked Shang-Chi. I thought it was great. Great action, really cool introduction to a character that hasn't gotten a lot of bring the character to the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Great villain, great villain.
Finally got the proper Mandarin.
And he's just terrifically well done.
Mm-hmm.
Great cast, very fun, great action, great action. A very enjoyable movie that has a lot of heart, and I really love the message and themes of the of family. That really hits home. So that's really cool.
Yes, fair. My 13th pick is Spider-Man: Homecoming. I really like this film, and this is where the list part of the list where I really like these films. I think from 15 onwards.
Yeah,
and then to my top 10, I really like, but my top 5 I absolutely love. I really like Homecoming. It's a solid Spider-Man movie. Vulture is my favourite Spider-Man villain. And I say that, but definitely in the MCU.
Yeah, I was just say in the MCU, I can understand.
But I mean, obviously, if we're comparing to Green Goblin and that, we've got Goblin, Otto, and Vulture. Those are the best 3, hands down. It's just a very solid Spider-Man movie. It's very fun. It's very light-hearted. It's like very youthful. I love the soundtrack. It's got one of my favourite songs. It's Space Age Love Song by a Flock of Seagulls. It's briefly heard at the prom or the Homecoming thing, which I really like. But yeah, I really liked Homecoming. Just small stuff like seeing what Peter would have to do if there's no buildings around and he has to run. I love that. So number 12. What's your 12th pick?
Winter Soldier.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know, man. Winter Soldier set up a lot for Marvel. I'm sorry. I love your reaction. I'm sorry. Doesn't mean to be a gut punch, but I like Winter Soldier. I love Winter Soldier. I still really like it, but
just to clarify, you're 15 picks onwards, the ones
yes.
You like.
No,
okay,
I be honest with you, I kind of have an emotional connection with a lot of these upcoming movies, so that's why Winter Soldier is where it is at. Yeah. There's a couple movies I will say I don't really have an emotional connection unless it's like theater experience. But that's kind of how I put in the stuff. Winter Soldier is a great spy thriller action film that really set the tone in a way that how Cap would be in the MCU and also bring up the day of how he is in modern day times with great thrilling plot and action and just set of characters and what it focuses on. It's a great movie. Not my personal favorite, but I still really love the film. I look back on a lot, but it's not, to me, it's not as unique as some other movies that Marvel has made. There are other ones that kind of widen the scope. There is one exception that would be at the very end of the list, but you can probably guess that. So, but yeah, that's which one is this? 12?
Yeah, 12. My 12th pick is the original Doctor Strange. I really enjoy the movie. It's a very underrated gem. This movie was very high on my list until I rewatched everything. It's dropped a fair bit, but I enjoy it. I love the trippy stuff that it does. I mean, the thing is, it's an origin movie, and they're very hit or miss. For me, this one is very good. The villain isn't the best. I can't even remember his name. He's that forgettable.
What? Caecilius?
Yeah. Dormammu, I like him and stuff. And they do very interesting things with the time stone and whatnot. So, yeah.
And introducing the mystic arts, different part of explore a whole new landscape of the MCU that really, and even the multiverse. So
yeah, that's my 12th pick. What is your 11th?
It's going to be Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Fair.
I've really grown in this movie through the years of watching it again and again. And I think it gets better each time I watch it. Very emotional movie every time I watch it. I do enjoy it. It's very different from the first movie. The first movie's amazing, but this is different in its own way. I think what it does, it's great. And how it really focuses on the Guardians, I think it's really Wasn't what I was expecting for a sequel, but I really enjoyed it. So yeah, it's really it's great. It's a very memorable Marvel movie to me because of how unique and like its action and character interactions. I don't know why, but it sticks out to me quite a bit. Surprising. And Kurt Russell as Ego, but Kurt Russell, I love Kurt Russell, but him in the Marvel movies is such a like, oh my god, playing Star-Lord's dad. That's freaking perfect. So cool.
My 11th pick is Infinity War. I really enjoy the movie. I like Thanos in it and whatnot. But it's got some... I mean, I like everything about it apart from certain things like the Mark 42. Iron Man's suit in the movie is fucking terrible. The VFX are awful. Not the biggest fan of the Iron Spider suit, in all honesty. But it looks fine. And yeah, there's some pretty wonky VFX here and there, like when Bruce takes off the Hulkbuster helmet and it's just his head, and you get the rest of the body. It just looks really weird. It's definitely an emotional movie near the end, and whatnot. But yeah, I really enjoyed Infinity War, but it's definitely not my favourite Avengers movie by any means. So now we're going into our top 10 picks. A few of these are movies that we absolutely love. That's why they're there. So what is your 10th pick?
Infinity War.
Okay, fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Yep. Dude, culmination of 10 years of Marvel films at the time. Crazy movie. Really well done. Really does a great job of bringing all these characters together and having this one big cohesive plot. And Thanos, it's a Thanos movie. Thanos is excellently done, played by Josh Brolin. So it's great.
Definitely Thanos is the best part of that movie.
Yeah, that's his movie. So
fair.
And more so character interactions. Thor meeting the Guardians, and my favorite part of that movie is probably the whole entire sequence on Titan, where it's some of my favorite characters are meeting up. The fight Thanos it was just great experience to unfold. See unfold. So yeah.
My 10th pick is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I really, really enjoyed this movie. I didn't know anything about the character. Went in with not massive expectations or anything, but I was looking forward to it. And I was very pleasantly surprised. I love the way the film's shot, like the style of the movie. It's very Japanese, or Korean, or whatever. I love all that stuff. The fight sequences are top notch. Probably some of the very better MCU fights. The Mandarin as a villain was great. I think one of the things that does let this movie down for me is probably the third act a little bit.
Yeah, I could see that.
But I still enjoyed it. And whatnot. I found it very interesting. Like I said, this is a character I didn't know anything about. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Number 9. What's your 9th pick?
So my 9th pick is going to be Doctor Strange. First Doctor Strange.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I put this movie up more because I rewatched it recently. I love it a lot more, and it's just a great movie. It's really great. Like it's a lot of stuff that you mentioned. Like, it really breaks into. I'm sorry that they just made the movie about the character, and it's done so well. It's a great introduction and explores the mystic arts and what that's like, and the possibilities that it holds. So
my number 9. My 9th pick is Captain America: The First Avenger. I really adore this movie. It was the last movie, weirdly, that I watched from Phase 1, because I watched Phase 1 out of order for some bizarre reason. Because I always thought Captain America was the least interesting character. Well, here we are, I love him, and it's my favourite trilogy. I really enjoyed The First Avenger. I really loved that movie. I agree. It would have been nice to see more of Red Skull. It's got a weird style to that movie. The way it's filmed and whatnot. It's very different, and I do quite like that. I love all the war stuff, and just bringing this very comic, campy character to life and making it work. I just absolutely love the First Avenger. Don't know what else to say apart from that, in all honesty. I love that costume. It's a great costume he gets in that movie. I love the comic one as well he gets. It's my favourite character in the MCU, and you'll definitely get his other two movies elsewhere in this top 10. So moving on to number 8. What's your 8th pick?
Alright, I just want to mention this too. I might have an extra movie to throw into here because I realize I have 8 movies left and there's one more I haven't mentioned.
Okay, do you want to quickly add that in then before we... I'll mention mine and then you fix your list.
Yeah, well, we're just gonna... It's just gonna be, like... I might be extended number, be like, okay, we'll see how this goes. But next one's gonna be Spider-Man: Homecoming. Love
okay,
this
okay.
movie.
We both have a Spider-Man movie for number 8.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite Spider-Man movies ever.
Mm-hmm.
I think it gets really set the tone for having an entire movie focused on Peter in high school, not to mention they'd set up an entire trilogy.
Yeah.
Great villain, one of the best villains in the MCU being the Vulture. And it really gets to explore Peter Parker as he discovers what Spider-Man and being a superhero is, what kind of responsibility it has to be. As much as he wants to be it, it's kind of learning a balance between his day-to-day life and also him wanting to be a superhero. It's great.
I completely agree with you. My 8th pick is Spider-Man: No Way Home. I'm sure it's much higher on your list for you. And I'm not saying that I don't like the movie or anything like that because it's not near my top 5, but I really do love this movie. It's got its problems here and there, as all of them do. But it did the impossible and brought back Toby and Andrew and brought back the best of the villains throughout their movies and stuff. So, yeah, a very solid movie. Genuinely a heartbreaking movie, especially with its third act. That whole third act really hits me hard, especially when everyone forgets Peter. That just honestly breaks my heart. It really got to me. And like Aunt May's death, that was pretty hard to sit through, and and just seeing this version of Peter actually become Spider-Man. I love the movie. Like I say, just because it's at 8th, it doesn't mean that I don't love the film or anything. So number 7. What's your number 7th pick?
Alright, so number 7 is going to be Avengers Endgame. This was the real ending for a lot of for a few characters we really love, and a tremendous movie that achieves so much that we thought Infinity War was. This was about the core 6 Avengers that we started out with, and the ending of Iron Man and Cap is a tremendous one, and I think that especially the third act of this movie, where it reaches the highest point the MCU has ever reached up to this day. It was just an entire overwhelming hour of entertainment. So I love that movie. It's very cool. Yeah. There's some, obviously there's some people who can say that about the off-screen development we see with characters is a pretty big issue with the film, but everything else about what they go through and try to solve this impossible situation and occurrence is it's very entertaining to watch, and the movie kind of goes by seamlessly with so much that happens in the course of 3 hours. So
my 7th pick is Iron Man 1. It's a very solid movie, very solid opening to the MCU, still holds up incredibly well. It's a really great comic book movie. Came out the same year as The Dark Knight, so it adds a lot to go up against. Overall, it's just a great movie. Honestly, these ones I could just say the same thing honestly. It's just a very good comic book movie. Number 6, what's your 6th pick?
Spider-Man Far From Home.
Ooh.
Yep.
Now, I know that you said, I mentioned that it's high for you, but I didn't realise it would be in your top 10.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. I have a lot of great experience with this movie. Love Mysterio. I kind of mentioned what I love about this movie already, so I won't rehash that much. But I also had a very special experience seeing with a friend that loved a lot about this character and was excited about Mysterio being as much as I was. So I was I had a great time seeing it, and I really enjoyed the movie a lot more than most people.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. My 6th pick is Multiverse of Madness.
Ooh!
By far my favourite Phase 4 movie. Like we said in the review, there's a lot of things I like. There's some things, I wish they did different or did more with. I don't want to linger on Multiverse of Madness too much because we've already talked about it for so long.
I just kind of say it and...
so it's in my number 6 spot. I really, really enjoyed the movie. Now the juicy top 5. What's your 5th pick?
Alright, so we're gonna have a 5.5 here, okay?
Okay.
Because I forgot a movie that's... I don't know how the hell I messed this up. I think it's because I had a different low count, but the first Iron Man.
Okay, yeah.
Love the first Iron Man. Kind of talked about it already, but yeah, first Iron Man.
So, solid movie.
Started it all, still great, still love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My 5th spot is Captain America: Civil War. Absolutely adore this movie. It is so good. Obviously introduced Spider-Man to the MCU, which is very exciting. And obviously Black Panther. I absolutely love the Winter Soldier. Civil War. Zemo was a great villain. He wasn't anything special, which I liked. It was very different. Shows how determined he was to get some vengeance for his family, which I quite like. Civil War is just very, very solid movie. At the time I loved it, and then I kind of fell out of love with it a little bit because I kept on hearing about it, and I was like, oh god, I just constantly hearing about how good this movie is just really putting it down for me, which is very weird. Especially what I was like at that time. I don't know why I was like that, but I really love Civil War. So number 4, it's your 4th pick.
Alright, so I'm going to do my normal 5 and I'll do 4. Is that alright?
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Because I screwed up something with this. Alright, so my number 5 is going to be Thor Ragnarok. One of my favorite Marvel movies ever. I've seen this so many freaking times. Mm-hmm. It's amazing. It's colorful. It's here. It's now. It's wow. Mm-hmm. It's my favorite Thor movie by far. Maybe Thor and Love and Thunder will top that. Mm-hmm. It just completely... It's a whole deconstruction of the Thor character and building him up in a new and different way. It's a fun ride from beginning to end. I love this movie.
Mm-hmm. And do you want to give your 4th pick as well?
My 4th one is also going to be Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Okay. Yeah.
That's just me coming right off the hype of the movie, and that's all I'll say. I already talked about why I love this movie. It is definitely one of my new favorites.
Yeah. My 4th pick is the original Guardians of the Galaxy. A stellar movie, honestly. Just so good. I can rant and rave about how good this movie is. Like the soundtrack especially, it's just perfect. I think it's because I love this movie so much, I wanted the second movie to be better, and it just, as I mentioned, it wasn't for me. I love everything about Guardians 1. It's such a good movie. Even the shitty villain it has, Ronan, isn't the best by any means, but I think because the core characters, like the Guardians, are that well written, it's kind of forgiven that he's not that great of a villain. Guardians Volume 1 is my number 4th pick. So getting into our top 3s now. What is your third pick?
So this movie was my favorite for a long time, but it's definitely fluctuated and changed. It's Civil War.
Okay, yeah, good pick.
Yeah, love this movie. Favorite Cap movie. It is, to me, the ultimate showdown between the heroes that we've all come to know and love. Mm-hmm. And it's an introduction to the MCU Spider-Man, which also was like, holy crap, that heightened the movie so much more. Great action. It's a build upon of what is so great about Winter Soldier to me, and just like pushes that further, you know. Mm-hmm. And it's an enticing, great film that I look back on. It's like that's my favorite. That's my favorite Avengers movie. I will say it's Avengers movie, but it's not. But yeah.
That's fair. My third pick is Avengers Endgame. God, I don't think I've ever watched a movie and been such a mess watching it before. I really, really felt this movie, and losing Tony at the end genuinely felt like we had lost a family member. It was so heartbreaking. When I say I was in tears throughout this movie, I'm not exaggerating. It was kind of one of those experiences where it had all been leading to that, and it was, for me, the payoff was worth it. The third act is so good, but ultimately, with Cap being my favourite character and seeing him happy at the end, it was like
I did cry when I saw that. I won't lie.
I was like, that's all I've wanted. I've just wanted this character to just be happy for Saul, and here he is. He's with Peggy, who he deserves to be with, and it was just like, oh God, I love that movie so much. I want a second pick. What's number 2 for you?
It's going to be the first Guardians movie.
Oh yes.
Okay. This is one of my favorite. I think it's one of my favorite movies ever. Yeah, man, it is a blend of a lot of things I love, from the soundtrack, from the characters, to a lot of things. Yeah, Ronan's not the best character, as he mentioned, like for a villain, but he gets the job done.
Yeah, he's very serviceable.
I'm glad the movie's so more focused on the characters of the team and how they emotionally come together. But it's a bunch of broken people that band together to
very misfits.
To try and save the galaxy. But the movie is such a culture phenomenon. Really, it really just. And for it being like a sort of space opera, there's so many things I just like. The movie blends, and the emotional core of the movie is something that tugs at my heart to this day. Especially, unfortunately, it's very resonant with how I feel with certain things and relationship I have with like mothers. It's like that will always. I rewatched it last August. It was way more emotional watching that. So, and that'll bring me to my final choice when we get to talk about that in a moment.
So my second pick is Thor Ragnarok. I love Thor Ragnarok. It's by far the best Thor movie. It's not even in comparison. You shouldn't even be able to put the other two in the same sentence as this. The direction, the rebuild of the character, what Taika Waititi does with him, it's so refreshing, and it's exactly what the character needed. All you have to do is look. And it's
done right. A lot of people think that Thor Ragnarok really doesn't turn to the character.
Yeah.
Sure, he's not as serious or anything, but man, Thor's world as a character is so colorful that I'm glad that these movies explore that.
It's like the reason why Thor was the least interesting character is because they tried to play him off too seriously.
Yes.
And then you get Ragnarok, and fair enough, he's very comedic and whatnot, and I understand why some fans may not like it, but it's much more enjoyable than the very dull fucking first two movies. I get that that's more accurate to the mythology and whatnot, but I much prefer this over that any day. Hela's a great villain. Really like her. I hope we see her again. I really enjoyed Sota.
Oh my god, yeah. This element's just, and Thor, I don't know, like I said, deconstruction of the character is so
I love Thor in this movie. made me fall in love with Thor. Like, it's that movie for me. And beforehand, he was always like, he's a cool character, but he's not like my favourite. This movie is the movie where I was like, he's one of my favourites. I love him in this. I love the direction, everything, and like his not new power set he gets. I just like, you know, all that stuff. Like visually, it's very colourful, like you say. And like the imagery is great. Like him coming down with the electricity coming off him and just jumped into the fucking crowd of undead fucking Asgardians and fucking.
Yeah,
I love that. It's so good.
Cue Immigrant Song, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, it's so good. Hopefully Love and Thunder is as good or even better than this. It'd be such a letdown if it wasn't that great, but we'll have to see. And our number one pick, I'm definitely sure I know exactly what yours is.
Yeah.
Yeah, number one. What's your number one movie? Your favourite MCU film?
Spider-Man No Way Home.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing this movie... Alright, no, not seeing this movie. From the moment this movie was taken away, not announced, then brought back, then they were making the movie, and every piece of article or note or any detail you can find about what this movie was going to be about, hearing about the castings of possible Jamie Foxx, Alfred Molina, Willem Dafoe returning, and then maybe Toby, maybe Andrew Garfield, and watching that unfold and eagerly waiting until the month of December 2021 to see the movie.
Yeah.
And I got to see it with some of my best friends in a movie theater right in the middle. It was an emotional ride and roller coaster to see a lot of characters that I've grew up to know and love, and to see a quintessential Spider-Man movie to me.
Yeah.
Something that also, sadly, I can resonate with Peter Parker's story of loss, and also him having to move on by himself, was monumental. I love this movie. It's not perfect. No movie's perfect. But the amount of enjoyment and everything I got out of it just still amazes me that this is a piece of media that relates. It's open to Spider-Man.
It's such an achievement, that movie.
It is such an ambitious solo superhero film that rises greater than anyone I've really, because the character has such a grand history and a plethora of characters, and now especially history in film, it celebrates that, the 20 years of that. So that's why I love this movie. And it's got Doctor Strange and Spider-Man teaming up. I mean, come on, that's freaking amazing. But yeah.
And my number one pick is Captain America: The Winter Soldier. For me, this movie has not been topped. Endgame was close for me. At one point, that was neck and neck. I don't know what it is about the Winter Soldier that has just captured my attention over the years. I always go back to it. I always, enjoy it more and more the more I watch it. I think it's the spy thriller aspect, and it turns Captain America, who wasn't the more serious character in the first movie, I guess, and flips his world around and makes him like this action hero. And it is the movie that made me fall in love with the character. So I think that's one of the reasons why I love it so much and praise it as much as I do. Fair enough, the villain, he's not like your Thanos or whatever, and it is very corporate but I just love this movie. Obviously we get the Winter Soldier, all that stuff. Some of the action scenes are they're still stupidly good. For a movie that, and I guess it's a bit like Ragnarok in terms of it made me care for these characters more than I did before, and it made me love them, and now they're my favourites. Do you know what I mean? I just love this movie. I just, honest to God, love the Winter Soldier so much. I genuinely can't place a reason why I do, but it's just the MCU movie for me. And, it's not so much a superhero movie, I guess, and I think that's what I like about it. I like the fact that it is a spy thriller first and foremost, rather than a superhero movie. So yeah, listen, that's been our ranking of the MCU.
A very long episode.
Very long. That took us about an hour to do. Also, I think. So our final segment, since this episode's definitely over 2 hours. Any new buys? Have you bought anything recently?
I went to a thrift store and got a bunch of like toy lizards and frogs. If that's anything.
Oh yeah.
No, not. It's probably pretty quiet for a bit after buying the Bugle.
Oh right, fair enough.
Yeah,
I mean, since obviously last week you bought the Bugle. I've been buying figures. What a surprise. So I got 3 Legends figures, and then I got a replacement Stormtrooper that I've been waiting almost 2 weeks for. Thanks, Hasbro.
Well, they came through. They came through, at least.
Yeah, so I'll quickly talk about the Stormtrooper. I got a new Stormtrooper. I ordered one with my Death Watch Mandalorian, and the face was more or less all over the place on it. I'm making it out worse than it was, but it was still very noticeable, and I just couldn't stand it. So thankfully, this new one is much, much better. It's not perfect, but I'm happy with it. So that's the main thing. Can't mourn all the time. And then I got 3 Legends figures, and the first one I got was the Zombie Cap figure, one of my new favourite Marvel Legends figures. It's such a great thing. The detail and everything like that, I just love it. So good. And then I also got the retro symbiote Spider-Man. So that's the Spider-Man in the black costume. Great figure. Uses is it the original retro Spider-Man body?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the retro Spider-Man body.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been after this one for some time, so I'm really happy that I found it. Thankfully, the paint and everything's very spot on. And then I got Hobgoblin, who is he's fine. He's not amazing or anything. He's just serviceable. So yeah, those have been my picks. Not my picks, my buys for the week. I don't know what I'm going to get next. I might just ease off getting toys for about a week.
Well, you say that.
Yeah, exactly. I always say this, and then I go out and just...
You find a cheeky deal or something, and you're like, ooh.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, this episode has been incredibly long. I don't know what we're going to do next week, if we do record. But, yeah... do you want to say anything before we head off?
No. It was great talking to you about this. And all the event, like Multiverse of Madness, and all the rankings. This is a big undertaking. I knew it was going to be. So, no, this was fun. Thanks for having me on, as always.
No, that's all right. Thanks for listening. And I shall... Oh, well, actually, I should say... please rate the podcast on Spotify. Click the bell notification so you get updates when we've uploaded, and please rate the podcast. It will massively help us in the long run, especially with the Spotify algorithm. And if you're interested, go and give the All Things Geek podcast Instagram page a follow. I'm in control of the account, but we upload updates and whatnot over there, so if you're interested, give it a follow. But thanks for listening to this very long episode. Bye.
Bye.